Just out of the blue, I had a little, would you like to learn more about how to become a dog groomer on my Facebook page? And I hit the button. Within minutes, I got a response, an opportunity to line up a Zoom meeting with the franchisor. I was waiting for the catch as well, like how can I make $2,000 a week doing dog washes, and how can you guarantee that for me, or, whatever it happens to be at the time. All you have to do is invest, X amount of time, 60 hours a week, And I was waiting for that. And it didn't come. And my mum, she's really quite business savvy, and she's like, I'm going to have a look into this for you as well. And she's like, Julie, if you can't make money doing this, there's something wrong with you.
So we're joined today by Julie Smythe, and you're from Jim's Dog Wash in Narellan, and you've been with us since 2022. I'm just looking at our system on the right here. And you got a great star rating as well, so you hit the ground running with Jim's Dog Wash. So thanks for joining us today. And I'll present you to Silver Accor membership as well, which is for star franchisees. And that is 2 free nights at any Accor hotel around the world, and a bunch of discounts on dining and drinks as well. So it's worth around $600. So we'll present that to you on behalf of Jim's Group.
That's amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie. Now, what were you doing prior to Jim's Dog Wash in 2022?
In 2022, prior to Jim, I was working for myself. I was working as a cleaner locally. My background was corporate, but I had a little girl in 2016, and I'm not suited to corporate life, and I didn't really want to start bringing those stresses home after having a child. So I decided to go out and work for myself. But cleaning's great. I wasn't in that position to be able to build on that. A lot of people do a really good job of being able to build on that. But by myself, it just wasn't something that I was able to do.
And so then what prompted Jim's Dog Wash? How did you stumble upon it, and how did you sort of decide to go from that into this?
Yeah, it was one of those sliding door moments. My husband and I were kind of really, doing a bit of a deep dive into my little cleaning business, and we were really at the point where I had to expand or go back to corporate because we needed to get some more money in. The idea of going back to corporate just sent a shiver down my spine, and it's just, Look, I haven't been through the training with gyms. I know that I'm not the only one to feel that way. And we all seem to just kind of migrate to working for ourselves from that point on. But so just out of the blue, I had a little, would you like to learn more about how to become a dog groomer on my Facebook page? And I hit the button. Within minutes, I got a response and an opportunity to line up a Zoom meeting with the franchisor. And something just kept telling me to just keep going, just keep seeing it through. And I was waiting for the catch as well. Like, I know I'm not the only one to go, well, hold on a second. How can I make $2,000 a week doing dog washes? And how can you guarantee that for me? Or, whatever it happens to be at the time. So I kept pushing the button and kept going on and went for a meeting. And I must apologize to my franchisor, Sharon, actually, because I'm pretty sure that first Zoom meeting with her, I had a cat walking past the video screen. I had a child in the background screaming for me. And I'm just kind of sitting there. I'm listening, but I'm jaded. I'm waiting for the catch. And, all you have to do is invest and, X amount of time, 60 hours a week, And I was waiting for that. And it didn't come. So I was asking the questions, and every time I asked a question, I'm waiting, I'm listening, and I didn't hear a catch. And and I went to the next stage, and my mum, she's really quite business savvy, and she's like, I'm going to have a look into this for you as well. And she's like, Julie, if you can't make money doing this, there's something wrong with you. So I figured, well, if she's giving it the tick, then it must be good. So I just kept ticking those boxes and just kept going and kept hitting go.
Well, it's great because I remember you from training now, Julie. I remember we did an interview with you because you've got different hair. Your hair looks great. That's what threw me.
Something's always a little bit different.
Yeah, that's what threw me because I remember you now, but then, from when you're talking. So, you had a really good attitude and energy at the start of training, and it's great to see that same energy as you've been running your business. It's fantastic to see. So
I love it. I absolutely love it. I am such an advocate for gyms out there as well. I know I've already got one of my friends in a franchise now, not dog grooming. He's power wash and windows. So he's started, and that was all because I kept, do it, just follow, just keep going and go to the training and you'll be fine. And he's loving it. So any opportunity I get to spread the word, definitely.
Has it married up? Because I met you in training and you were really positive and really enthusiastic, and it's really great to see how you still are, which is, it's not a surprise, but like, running a business with a family can be very, as you would know, it can be very time consuming and can be very tiring as well for sometimes. So how have you been so far in the first year managing all those juggling different components?
Yeah, look, I'm not lying. The first 3 months, it was hard. It was tough, but I had a lot of friends that I'd made through training as well, and we all kind of supported each other. I have a great franchisor with Sharon, but also I've got a regional franchisor as well, Susie, who's calling me up all the time, making sure that we're okay, everyone's fine. There's 6 weekly meetings as well, and we discuss so much. I think more is fixed in the car park at the end of the meeting than during the meeting as well, So the support is definitely there. I didn't go through anything that no other person starting out on their own is going to go through. The only difference is I had the support. I had a lot of years of experience behind the Jim's brand. I never felt like I was on my own. Even though life in the trailer can sometimes get a bit lonely, and you do start talking to the dogs. You're not on your own in regards to your business.
And how's that been for you? Because I spoke to Jade yesterday about there can be sometimes, there's different challenges. She obviously has a salon and then employees as well with her trailers. But what's the maybe reality of being a mobile dog groomer? Is there some things that people should know? Is it more physical than maybe what you thought at the start? Or what are some things that are insider's perspective regarding the business?
Yeah. It's funny because it's probably a lot, for me anyway, it's a lot to do with the relationships that I have built with my clients as well as their dog. For example, this is just off the top of my head because it happened today. I have an elderly lady who recently in the last 18 months lost her husband, and I went to groom her dog today, and I arrived and she's obviously having a bad day, and she was in tears, and I sat with her and made her a cup of tea, and I had a chat with her about everything, and kind of tried to convince her to go and see her doctor. And I have another client that actually works in aged care, and I contacted her afterwards and said, look, what else can I do for this lady? And she recommended that I get her to speak to aged care and to get herself to get started, get that ball rolling for her so that she can get some support around the home and so on. So surprisingly, it's actually the amount of interaction that I have within my community that surprises me a lot, because I do about 30 dogs a week. I'm not like ridiculously busy doing those 30 dogs a week, but that's 30 contacts that I have with individuals as well. So that surprised me. More so with regards to the trailer and the actual dog grooming. Every dog is different. Every dog has its own challenges. I'm very surprised that I actually like coming home to my cats. I lost my dog about 2 years ago, and personally I'm not prepared to look at replacing him anytime soon. So I get a lot of love and company from other people's dogs, which is great, but it's really nice to come home to cats that just don't want to know you. Sometimes you can be a little bit dogged out. So yeah, that surprises me, because I would, and never in my life have I ever thought, oh my God, another puppy. But those in the know, they know puppies can be hard work in the trailer sometimes. Their noses are everywhere, and so yeah. But no, they're good fun though. You gotta love dogs.
Absolutely. And with the training as well, looking back now from having a bit of time away from it, how was the training when you look back on it, coming to gyms in Melbourne to do it?
Oh, I loved it. I loved every moment of it. I loved the interaction with other people. I loved that we were all pretty much in the same boat. We were all a little bit broken. We've it was quite an emotional journey, to be fair. It was to see that there was that many people that just needed to work for themselves because they just couldn't work corporate anymore. It reminds you that it's pretty tough out there. And sometimes the only way that you can get through is just to work for yourself. It doesn't mean, it's nice to see that there are that many people out there that do that, because you see so many success stories and none of them are lazy. They're not lazy people. They don't mind putting in the hard yards to make $1. Yeah, they've been abused, through corporate or whatever. And it's good to see everyone making such a big success of themselves. Yeah.
And you also, it's a very scary time as well. Like especially if you come from interstate as well, you have to come there and, as you said, you're in the same boat with everyone else. Everyone else, if they might not tell you they're scared or a bit nervous, they all are. And that's a good thing, right? You take everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what was it during the 3 days? Was there anything like with that Jim said that stood out to you that you still remember, or What was it from the course itself?
Yeah, so very much along the lines of how I've just mentioned that, we all seem to be in the same boat. The trainers that you have, I love that they're just older versions of me. They've been in the company, they've gone through it themselves. You haven't hired trainers to come in and tell you how to run your business. You have asked franchisors or franchisees that have been experienced and have gone through everything to come in and run that training program. So you're hearing it directly from the horse's mouth. You can see an example of success standing right there in front of you. And, and you become a little bit, you start to hero worship a little bit as well, Unfortunately, I'm terrible with names, so I can't remember any particular person's names, but they're quite open about laying their heart out in front of everyone for you all to see. And you start to hero worship a little bit. It might have something to do with being trapped in a room for 8 hours with that same speaker, but probably not. Like, they've got a story to tell, and they do it in a really good way. And I loved that our training was, like I said, was from successful franchisees and franchisors.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, Julie, because majority of the trainers are all former franchisees or franchisors, and those franchisors were franchisees. So, and obviously Jim does the training himself. It's very rarely that we have outside speakers. There's only actually one national speaker, and that's myself and Steph, who do the technology and the social media component, but everyone else is a franchisee and franchisor. But I'm glad you said that. That's a really important point, and Jim will be wrapped at you.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, Jim, I did forget to mention, the hero worshipping starts at the beginning of the 3 days, because Jim always starts every 3 days off with a half day with himself.
It does,
which is great. Yeah, and then you get to see him every day as well during the breaks and at lunchtime and dinner time, which is awesome. He puts his money where his mouth is. He's there. He's up front. He's open for any questions and has all the answers as well. So,
and have you called him on the mobile yet? So he gives his mobile number to all new franchisees. Yeah. Have you called him or emailed him yet? Or
I have. I've emailed him a couple of times.
Good. That's nice.
I also had a good word to say about my franchisor as well, and I just wanted to make sure that Jim was aware of how much support we get. I had a little issue with my trailer, and Susie, my franchisor, she was with me every step of the way, and she was awesome. She was really amazing. So I just wanted to let Jim know that. So, and he does check your scores. He does always, before he messages back, he always checks to see what your star rating is as well. Yeah. And congratulated you as well. So that was nice. I got a nice congratulations from him too. But, true to word as well, after my first month, I got an email from Jim, and you do wonder if it's maybe just kind of like, what are those auto mailer or,
It is an automated email, but he does respond to anyone who responds to it. That's true.
Absolutely. And that was the first time that I said thank you. And I got a message back very quickly to say, really good to hear that you're doing very well. And, so it is, he's very happy to personalize anything. So
I'm glad you sent him a positive story as well. That's good, because a lot of people, obviously in Jim's position, he probably hears more negative than positive things, with complaints and stuff as well. So I'm glad you did do that. That's great. And if other franchisees are listening, please, if you are having a good time with Jim, just let him know, because that's a good positive thing to do. Now, regards to your business itself as well, is there any tips or tricks you picked up along the way? How do you give good customer service, or what to you is good customer service in your business? Is there things that you're doing might be different that you might want to share with people?
Yeah, sure. So for me personally, I wouldn't say everyone would be able to do this, but I've had a love of dogs and animals in general for a really long time. I'm quite old. I'm not going to say how old, but I'm quite old. So I've got quite a wealth of knowledge. For whatever reason, I tend to store a lot of information about dogs and animals. So I feel like I can value add with my clients by, I always preface it with I'm not a vet. And if you feel like, please take your animal to the vet if things seem to be getting worse. But, things like ear infections or yeast infections and everyday kind of issues that you might have, like a little bit of a sore something on a leg, or, I can usually kind of help with that to some degree, but, always with the preference that they go and see the vet if it gets worse. So things like that, and diet is really important. There's a lot of dogs showing up with allergies and things like that at the moment, and it's all based on bad diet, really. So I like to give a little bit of nutritional advice. If only I could take it for myself, right? Get away from the grains. So things like that. Also, I took Jim's word for it, and I made sure that I responded to clients in a timely manner. And with Jim's, it's no longer than 2 hours. So I like to try and reply to them as quickly as I can when it's safe to do so. It's not always easy in a dog trailer, but you can set up your phone with all sorts of different automated messages as well. So you can just reply to people that way. I also like to send out little reminders to say that they've got an appointment coming up soon. And I like to do that within 2 days before the appointment. It helps me as well, because sometimes people will go, oh, I forgot. Okay, well, I'm going to have to cancel. And then you can reschedule them. So that's easier. I like to respond to my clients as quickly as possible. And also, I think if you just love on their dog, you know, they're going to love on you. So at the end of the day, as long as you don't chop off a leg, you should be okay.
No, you made some really great points then. And thanks for all that information. That was really, really good. But let's say nutrition then. Actually, I know dog breeds it differently, but what are some mistakes then people just in general make with their dogs' nutrition from what you can see?
I think nutrition is getting better, but we do rely too much on kibble, and it's usually grain based. So it will have so many fillers in there, like corn, which lacks so much in any kind of nutrition and just goes in one end and out the other end, and very little is happening in between. They do that to try and keep the prices down, but you kind of need to get a good protein based kibble if you want to do kibble at all. I mean, ideally you study up and you work out what's best for your dog and you try and do a raw diet, but you know, there's a lot involved in that. And I got it wrong. I gave my dog pancreatitis because I thought I was doing the right thing. Yeah. So, you know, only really do raw if you're ready to commit and research it. But there's some really good single protein, grain-free kibbles out there if that's the way you want to go. And sometimes people just want easy. And I get that.
What do you recommend then? Are there some brands that people should look at, or?
Well, Jim's personally, we recommend Man's Best. We have a bit of a partnership with Man's Best. They are locally, they have all their proteins sourced locally within Australia. They also do a grain option if you wanted to keep the costs down a little bit, because kibble can be expensive, especially if it's grain free. Unfortunately, I can't remember the name of their grain kibble at the moment, but they do use a grain, but they use a brown rice instead of corn, which they have found is a higher density nutrition than corn. It's not ideal, but it's better than anything else.
Yeah. No, we've got a couple of dogs, and they're real sensitive stomachs. They're 2 Shih Tzus, so it's always trying to find a mixture of what works for them. And yeah, we've tried a few things with the raw stuff as well. And
yeah, right.
Yeah. So it's
Do you find they get a bit yeasty to their paws? Are they always at their paws and chewing at their...
No, they weren't too bad. It was more just inconsistent with their poos, to be honest. So yeah, so we do like a mixture of just biscuits and just chicken and stuff. Like we always get roast chooks and stuff and mix it in together, and that seems to be okay with some salmons and stuff. And anchovies. Yeah, the salmon and the anchovies, for whatever reason, the anchovies works well on their coat. So
as well. The sardines that you can say sardines.
Yeah, sardines. Sorry, sardines.
Yeah, no, they're all great. They're all really good. The sardines, probably keep it to like maybe once or twice a week.
Yeah.
Only because, I mean, the omegas are amazing, but they kind of have a tendency to have a high mercury rate in them as well. So, as you know, mercury is a heavy metal. It's going to stay in the system. But yeah, once or twice a week. I mean, our babies, they never last forever. So we do what we can to prolong life. But yeah, every couple of days for the sardines is not gonna do too much damage over 12 years.
No, for sure. And with your business as well, are you happy? You don't have to say how much money you're making, but are you happy with the level of income you're making in comparison to the lifestyle you're doing at the moment?
Yep.
Good.
Absolutely. Like I said, I do about 30 dogs. I've dropped a little bit now because I've paid off my business. So I'm probably doing about 25 dogs a week now. And yeah, I would say on average I'm doing about $2,000 a week. And I'm not killing myself. I'm really not killing myself. I'm home from my daughter. I take her to school in the morning. I don't start until 9:30 and I finish about 4:30, 5 o'clock.
It's great. And you would spend a lot more time, I presume, with customers as well and taking a bit more time with what you're doing and that sort of thing.
Yeah. I take a lot of pride in my work. I'm always learning as well, always online. If you've got a great franchisor, she's Susie, she's always arranging for extra training, having someone in and showing you some different different groom techniques. She likes to arrange for like someone to come in and talk to us. We had a lady come in and talk to us about arthritis in dogs.
Okay.
Which is really handy. Gives you some really good tips on how to manage your older dogs, especially if they can't stand for long periods of time with a groom. So I'm always learning. Yes, I like to take a little bit of time on my grooms, but at the end of the day, I'm also trying to make money too. So I'm not going to sit there for 2 hours perfecting a groom. And as long as my clients are happy, I'm happy too. But I do want to work well, but faster. Because obviously the dogs don't want to be in there for that long either. So yeah.
Now, is there any particular types of breeds or that you like working on, or is it just a personality type thing? So it doesn't matter the breed, it's more about the personality of the dog.
Yeah, definitely. But my personal preference, big dogs.
Big dogs?
Yeah, big dogs.
Yeah.
The bigger the better. I love
Really?
big dogs. Oh, yeah. I've just moved house recently and my neighbor had a short-haired Saint Bernard and he's lovely. So, yeah, he's massive. He's going in the trailer tomorrow, actually.
Yeah. Wow.
Getting his first dog wash from me tomorrow. So, yeah. And being a groomer, you really get to know your neighbors. They always want to have a wee chat about your dog. And I love it. I've got a lady down the road that's got my favorite breed. She's got a boxer. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to get her boxer in the van at some point too.
And how do you deal with more anxious dogs then, Julie? I'm sure you get people saying my dog's anxious or it might be a bit aggressive or something. So how do you go about that process and how do you go about dealing with some of those dogs?
I've got a few that have said to me, "Oh, my dog's terrible. I'm so sorry. It is going to be really hard. Just do what you can do." I get them in the trailer and we spend a bit of time. We get to know each other. I don't like to give treats to dogs that are nervous and anxious. They're not going to take it anyway. But I spend some time with them and I sit there quietly and we have a little bit of a chat and we have a little bit of a stroke. And, it's very dependent on the type of dog as well. Like if you can just feel their anxiety just building, I don't want to prolong that. But talking, just, even baby talk. Just keep talking to them. It sounds silly, but let them know what it is that you're going to do next. I'm not saying I expect them to understand, but it just helps you continue that conversation with them. I've only had one dog now that I haven't been able to groom. And I feel, because I didn't want to fail, I feel like maybe I held on to that dog a little bit too long. And I may have increased the anxiety of that dog because I didn't want to fail. So I won't make that mistake again. If I can't groom them after the first groom, I might not be the groomer for that dog. But I've had plenty of successes with a lot of other dogs. It's okay to let go of one. You might be doing that dog a big favor. So,
Sure.
Yeah.
And now, Julie, is it good advice for somebody if they do get a puppy to start to take it to to engage a Jim's Dog Wash grooming as soon as possible? Because from talking to dog wash franchisees, they might not get that when they're a puppy or when they're younger, and it's a bit harder as they get older. So is it something if someone does buy a puppy, or they don't think it's too young to get a groom straight away for it, or?
Yeah, that is very important. You need to socialize them and you also need to get them used to something that they're going to have done regularly. I'm not kidding anyone by saying, oh, they all love it. They love going in the trailer. There is not a dog out there that loves a bath, right? You can have a dog that just loves going to the beach and going into the water all the time, but getting them in a bath, never in a million. So the sooner that you train your puppy into something that they are going to have to do regularly, the easier it's going to be on your pup. You do need to make sure that all their vaccinations are up to date and they've had that third vaccination and they're at least 2 weeks past that third vaccination.
Okay.
We keep our trailers as clean as we can, but parvovirus is quite deadly, and I would hate for a puppy to come into the trailer and get something nasty that makes them very poorly. So they do need to be fully vaccinated. But yeah, even if they don't need a haircut, come in, have a sniff around, have a couple of treats because I'm fun. And, and we'll just have a little play and first meet and greet, maybe just a little hair, like a little bath. I'll get my hair dryer out, rather than the big high velocity dryer. We'll just have a little bit of fun, and then they get used to all the smells. I'll turn the big high velocity dryer on, so it's a big noise and they get used to that noise. But each puppy is different as well. So if that puppy comes in and his tail's right between his legs and his bum's dragging on the floor, then we'll just keep it very quiet, very quick, and just integrate them into the trailer that way. It's much better to do it that way than to have a dog that thinks it's a parrot and is trying to sit on your shoulder for the entire groom because they just want to get away or have no other choice but to become aggressive.
They're great trailers though you've got, because they've obviously got heated water.
Yeah.
They're air conditioned as well, so they are very comfortable as well for the dogs and obviously for yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, lots of space. I love my trailer. She's the best toy I've ever had. I honestly give her a hug. I do. She's Big Red. Yeah, she's just the best, and I love my space. The thing with our trailers as well is we can adapt them to whatever suits us. So, like, you're on the Facebook page and someone's done this alteration on their trailer, and now everyone wants to go and do that because that's such a good idea. So there's a lot of interaction with all the different groomers throughout Australia, and so we get a lot of feedback from everyone and what people are doing and how they're doing it differently. And so that's really good. You got that support as well. There's so much support out there for you. So
how'd you go driving the trailer in the early days? Because it can be quite daunting if you haven't driven one before.
My dad was a long distance lorry driver.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. But he's back in the UK. But I just had this feeling that I, had learned through osmosis.
Is it?
Yeah, very little. Yeah. And I got Big Red and I took her down to the local car park and I proceeded to try and reverse her, and it didn't go very well. I'm like, how do I not know how to do this? I was in tears and I'm like, no, I did not think that would be the hardest part of starting the business. However, I can reverse that trailer around corners. I can go uphill and reverse it into someone's driveway. I have got that trailer down pat now, and my car is worse for wear. And I'm just going to wait a couple more months before I go and get everything, all the little things that I've done in it fixed, just in case I have one more ding. But I think I'm at that point now where I've got this trailer thing down pat. And no, it wasn't by osmosis, so no. But my father-in-law says, look, you're better than I am. I couldn't reverse the trailer either.
There is why I ask this, because sometimes it can be off-putting, like someone might want to do the business or whatever and they go, I'm not confident in driving the trailer, and they just avoid it. But it's just something where you've just got to get practice and get experience. And as you said, go to a car park maybe and just try and do it one night when no one's watching or anything like that, and just have a go at it and drive it around, because it can be quite daunting for some people. And it's a quite common thing. Not many people say it is, but it can be sometimes at the start.
Yeah, or you just don't think it's going to be that difficult. I have more trouble now reversing my car when I don't have the trailer on it.
Really?
Because I tried to go the other way. Yeah.
Ah, okay, right.
Oh, no, not that way. It becomes second nature. You got to get yourself out. Yeah, you got to get yourself out of certain situations. I remember probably the worst one. I'm like, oh my God, how is anyone ever going to get me out of here? And I was in a townhouse complex and there wasn't much room to turn around. And I jackknifed the trailer and dented the back bumper of my car. And I'm like, oh my God, you just got to keep your cool. And you've got your average 3-point turn. I just increments, absolute tiny, tiny little movements until I got myself out of it. Hilarious. They didn't call me back, funnily enough. But yeah.
And I was going to say as well, what advice would you have for someone looking at doing dog wash? What sort of questions should they ask, or what would your best sort of advice to them to maybe do what you've done?
Yeah. Do your due diligence. Ask the questions. Sharon or whoever it is that you speak to at the time will offer you some numbers of franchisees to call and listen to what they have to say. You'll go out automatically anyway for a day out in a trailer. Ask all the questions that you make sure you have questions to ask as well for that day out. That's the first start of your journey. ask all the questions that you like. There's no one and there's no one's hiding anything from you. It's all there. It's easy. Follow the process and you'll not have a problem.
And what questions did you ask them back back when you're doing your observation day? What sort of things were you asking?
Probably quite naive things, really. I asked, obviously, like, is there money involved? Can you make some money? And that goes without saying because we're all doing it and we're all very successful. But have you been bitten? Yes, you do get bitten. The things I should have been asking is like, what happens with all the dog hair when it gets still stuck into your uniform? The one bit of advice that I would give every female, I'm not sure if males would have the same issue, but every female, buy yourself a good set of decent sports bras because those teeny tiny hairs get everywhere, but I've yet to find one that can get past a good, decent sports bra. Like I said, I don't think the men have that problem so much, but I wish someone had told me.
The sports bra, there we go. Sports bra for dog groomers, insider tip. So, Julie, what I want to do is thank you very much for your time tonight. It's great to see how we interviewed you at training, and your energy is probably even more so now than what it was at the training. So it's fantastic. I remember your bubbly personality, and it was really great to meet you there. And it's great to see how you're doing so well and you're loving it. It's fantastic that it's for us to see. Yeah.
Yeah, look, thank you very much for the opportunity as well, actually, to share, because I do see that video and I remember how pumped I was, and I was so excited. I just wanted to get started. I just wanted to get it. I have so much information going on in my head, and obviously very excited about the future.
Yeah.
So the opportunity to have a chat with you and to give you a bit of an update on how it's all going, it's actually really lovely to be able to share, because I am still so pumped and I am doing the best job I have ever done in my life, and I love it. And
I should have remembered you, but I should have remembered you. I didn't remember. I should have remembered you from initially. I just the hair, the nice hair threw me. So it's my fault.
I'm literally straight home from work. This is not staged. I have dog hair on my t-shirt.
But I should have recognised you. I did recognise you with the hair, so I should have recognised you. But now look, Julie, thank you very much for joining us today. You get the cool voucher as well, so a membership from us. So that's for you and your husband, and there'll be 2 free nights at your core hotel in the world. So if you want to do a staycation in the city or go wherever you want, please use that. And then there's discounts on drinks and dining and stuff as well. So you'll get an email from us to set that up. Don't delete it. It's not spam. And it's worth around $600. That's on behalf of Jim's Group for being a great franchisee and being a great advocate for the division. And as I said, you've got a fantastic personality, and it's just amazing to see how much energy you have. It's really motivating and inspiring to see how positive of a person you are, because you're a breath of fresh air. So thank you for joining us today. And it's really great to see that it's worked out for you.
If I can encourage anyone to just get on and do it, I'd be delighted, because I think everyone should do it. Everyone should do it. Yep. Maybe not Jim's Dog Wash, but there are franchises out there.
Exactly right. If you got to like dogs. If you don't do it, if you just think you're gonna,
do pressure washing or jumping castles or something like that. Yeah, there's plenty of Jim's franchises out there to choose from, and they all run in the same manner as Dog Wash. Just more up your alley, and I would highly recommend Jim's to anyone.
No, you're fantastic. You're a star, Julie. Thank you very much for being so great in the interview. And I'm really, really genuinely happy to hear how it's worked out for you. And as I said, it's amazing to see you got a lot of energy at the training, and it's amazing to see you got more energy now carrying over. It's great. It's really inspiring. I'm a very low energy person, so I'm very like this. So it's great to meet someone. It's great to meet someone like yourself who's got that. It's really motivating and great to see. So thank you very much for your time tonight, Julie. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity. Cheers.
Thanks, Julie. No, see you, mate. Thank you for listening to the episode of the Gyms podcast. If you want to learn more about the Gyms Group, head to gyms.net or call us on 131 546 Australia or 0800 454 654 New Zealand. And if you did like the episode as well, please make sure you leave a review or a comment or a thumbs up or a comment on the video as well. We appreciate your support. And until next episode, we hope you have a great week.